Hi, this is Yanis from Noisebud, and today I'm releasing what? It looks like this. I call it what because it comes from different experiments I done with audio over the years, and I picked a couple of those experiments and I put it into one plugin and call it what. Um, let's start with just playing around with it, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about it later on, what it does and how to use it. So let's start putting it on. I made just a drum loop. It sounds like this. Or it's not just a drum loop, it's some synthesizer stuff as well. But just a stupid loop. And let's put a word on this. So now I have made some settings and I'm gonna play again, but this time I'm gonna bypass, so keep an eye on the bypass button. So here we go. So that's how it sounds on a drum loop, and let's use it on a track called Midsommar that my friend Jonas, again, thank you Jonas, sent to me. I'm gonna try to enhance that, and this is MP3, so it sounds a bit, you can hear on the snare that it's a little bit chirpy, but it sounds good. Other than that, and it's just the MP3 that I got from Jonas, and I don't think he tried to master this. I think this is a raw mix. I'm not sure. But we're gonna just use WUT on this piece of audio. And I do the same thing that I did with the drum loop, that I'm just gonna bypass when I'm playing, and we use, let's set a loop here and just use the verse. So let's talk a little bit what this plugin actually does, and in a sense, I don't really know what it does because yeah, let's start with the airband, and I can just explain a little bit how I achieved that or made that. It's an from the start, it was an experiment with creating an acceleration limiter, which is a kind of limiter that you often use when you're going to vinyl, when you have high-end that are a bit out of control and can make problems with the cut, with the vinyl cutting. And you can use an acceleration limiter, which is a cool way to take down the problematic high-end without affecting the audio too much. We don't perceive it as much as we do with a low pass filter. But then I took that and I phase inverted that and mixed that with a dry signal just to see how that sounded, and that sounded a bit weird, but then I added some other things and kept going with different kind of processes, and until I got something that this sounds cool. And then I left it there. I didn't mean to use it. I was just doing it out of interest to see how you could manipulate sound. But it sounded kind of cool, so I kept it on the hard drive. And I did a similar thing with the weight band, the low end. It's also an acceleration limiter, but set way lower, and then a bit of the same process, because when I made the airbound sound good, I thought, well, how will this sound on low end? So I did kind of the same thing. And the mid thing is not, it's nothing like an equalizer at all. It's more of a stereo widening effect. And it's, you can think of it as a reverb, but it's following the envelope of the audio, which means that there are the reverberation time is no longer than the audio that it's going through the plugin. So it's like adding reverb without the tail, kind of thing. It's a much simpler effect than the other two bands, and I'm actually gonna continue working on that and implement that in the plugin Skyline later on as another way of widening or manipulate the stereo image, and then it will be 3-band. But for now, you have it in WUT. Let's talk a little bit about the settings. First, you have the big knobs, the 3 big knobs. Those are just dry and wet controls. So it's completely dry down here, and then you mix in and blend in the processed signal. So it's never 100% wet. That sounds like crap. So it's wet dry controls, but you can think of them as boosting the low end, boosting the high end, and yeah, the mid thing is more of a dry wet feeling. But these actually sounds as if you boost things, and which you do as well. If you look at how, if you measure this, you will see that it's a boost. I think it's almost 19 decibels of low end that's get pushed when you have the weight band at max. Then below the weight band you have shade, and this is just sets the frequency where it starts to work. So the lower this goes, the lower the frequency. I usually just keep it at max because I think that sounds the best, but sometimes you just want to boost the sub frequencies. The wide control in mid thing, it's to set the envelope follower that follows the envelope of the music, and my recommendation is to keep it so that the average is around 12 o'clock. It's no problem if it's go up to max sometimes, but as soon as if you set it like this and play and the meter stays at max, then it's pretty much just a reverb and not that interesting. So you have to set this, and depending on the incoming level, you probably have, like in this instance, I have it's a lot of gain in this audio file, so then I have to keep this really low. Let's demo that just quick. actually we can listen to the delta. So let's remove the air and the weight band and play again and listen in delta. Yeah, there's a frequency modulation thing going on as well. So that's why it sounds out of tune when you do it like this. But then if we start with this at 0 and slowly start to raise it, so let's see how that sounds. So that sounds like that in delta. Let's remove the delta. So you can see that this controller it's really, I have to set it really low when you have something with a lot of gain in it. So mind that. I'm actually gonna make an update later on that measures the incoming signal and sets this automatically, but I haven't done that yet. So in this version, the first version, we have to do it manually, but I will work on it. Let's see, I talked about the shade control, the weight, the strain I haven't talked about, but I take that last. Let's talk about the air band first. So again, this is just a wet-dry control for the air band, and then I added a high frequency limiter, which is just that it starts to limit the audio if it gets too hot. So let's set that as well. So if you set it really high, then you pretty much take away the whole effect, so it doesn't do anything with audio. So yeah, this is use your ears when it sounds good. I usually have it set so that it peaks, it only goes up to the middle, 12 o'clock, so it doesn't take away too much of the high end, but that's up to you. Okay, and then this ranges, or then there's just a main control. This is just a level knob if you need to decrease or increase the level. The delta button, as you know, gives you the delta signal, and bypass the plugin. The strain control. This is a strange thing, and a bit hard to explain, but let's try. I kept it in because it works really good in rare occasions. So I kept it in. But my guess is that you don't gonna use this too much. It started from an experiment where I put plugins post the limiter. So what it does is that it's copying the peaks or the whole curve from the incoming signal. Then you do all the settings in the plugin, and it tries to keep that curve. So it fights against everything that's done with the signal, but it does that with the processed signal. So it never goes back to the original. It's not like it's using the dry signal. It's just using the data or the sample points from the incoming audio, and then it tries to apply that to the new waveform. And it's, when it works, it's like if you recorded drums, but there's not that much low end. You put in strain, and then you can put the weight band on max, and you then it will add the perfect amount of low end, so that it sounds natural. It's a bit hard to explain. If I do it with this, it will just... let's use it with so I put in strain, I maxed the weight band, and let's listen in delta. We can just listen what it actually adds to the signal. So that's what it's going to add. So you can hear that it adds low end, but if we listen to it without the delta, so how it actually sounds, you probably won't hear too much in this audio. I'm actually gonna put my in-ears on to see if I can hear this. As if you work without the strain, then it's a whole other thing. Yeah, so I don't know if you will ever come across a situation when it's useful. I have used it in some situations, and it sounds, especially on just recorded drums, not mixed. You just recorded them and then put this on, and all of a sudden the kick actually sounds like it's supposed to sound. So that's why I kept it. But it's not a it's I'm guessing you're rarely gonna use this. It's just a guess, but I think so. So I think that's it. Haven't written the manual yet. I'm gonna do that, and I hope I will be able to explain the different settings and different what it does with audio a bit better. But it's a hard one because it does so much, and it is an experimental plugin. But I hope you will like it, and so go download it and see what you think. Have a nice day. Bye bye.